Well, this is M-rated and 86 minutes in duration. A 52-year-old English librarian called Sue Bangold, played by Monica Dollard, her husband Bob left her and then, and their young son at the time, Daniel, that was 8 years ago. And he now lives in Florida with his 36-year-old second wife, who's about to give birth to a child. Daniel, now played by Earl Cave, who's 15 years of age, is on school holidays, looking forward to travelling to the United States to spend time with his father. Only a phone call changes that. And Daniel, he's left to while away the summer at home, with only his mum and his best mate Kai, played by Elliot Speller Gillett, for company. Daniel, like Kai, is into heavy metal music. So this is a film for you, Dave. Anyway, his favourite band is Metallica. Is yours?
No. I do like them, but they're not my favourite.
Right. Okay, well, come on. Now that begs the question. None of us will have ever heard of them, but what's your favourite metal band?
I actually really love a band called El Vitae, who are a metal band who only use instruments that were around during the times of the Vikings.
Oh, my golly. Right, okay. Does that make them better because they're older? The instrument talking about.
I just think it's an absolutely sensational sound, and when you go to see them live and you're watching people play instruments that would have been around 300, 400 years ago, it just looks amazing.
What are they called again? We'll Google them.
El Vitae.
Right, it's spelled E-L and separate word Vitae? Or
no, E-L-V-E-U-I-T-E.
Of course it is. Right. Thank you. Good. I've learned something. It's been valuable. Right. So we've got the heavy metal band Metallica, and Daniel constantly wears the same T-shirt, doesn't he, with the Metallica label on it, black T-shirt. This is a layabout who expects his mother, he treats his mother dreadfully, to do everything for him, and a war of wills ensues. The boy's, he's got a mighty big chip on his shoulders. He's perpetually giving lip. He's either sullen, or he's angry, or he's both. Even shopping for shoes with his mum for this upcoming wedding becomes a nightmare. Try as she does, nothing the mum, Sue, says satisfies Daniel, who regards her as an embarrassment, and says some particularly hurtful things. One morning, after a run-in the night before, Sue insists that he prepare and hand around his resume to try to attract a summer job. Now, while Daniel does that, what catches his eye is a handwritten note on a notice board reaching out for a singer from a metal band. And in his pursuit of that metal band, Daniel has a falling out with Kai. Meanwhile, Sue has unexpectedly been invited on a date by Daniel's history teacher, smooth-talking Douglas Porter, played by Rob Brydon. What a supercilious performance that is. Anyway, a great role. Anyway, Daniel is suitably grossed out that his teacher will be asking his mother out. As you can gather from what I've just told you, very little actually happens, Peter.
I think a lot happens in this film, and that's why I really enjoyed it.
Hang on, I'm going to give you some nail clippers, and you can watch the grass grow for me, shall you?
This is a carefully developed film by Simon Bird, who was in The In-Betweeners and has now turned to directing. And what he's done is he's fashioned a very carefully modulated story about a mother and son relationship that takes a lot of time to develop, and eventually leads to some sort of positivity in terms of the relationship between the two. This whole idea of the name Bangold, and that's how it's pronounced, is one in itself that's quite amusing. But I like the way that Simon Bird has used the camera to use largely static shots, but to really focus on his two lead characters. And I must say the Earl Cave, Nick Cave's son, is very good as the sullen son, and Monica Dolan is absolutely superb as the mother, especially in the way that her character develops. This is a really enjoyable, well-crafted relationship film, which I think worked very well.
Well, and by the way, I think I transposed, not deliberately, Bagnold with Bangold, so I apologise. It is Bagnold, so Peter, 100% go to the top of the class for that. Now, Dave, did you find that it was too slow, or did you think it was appropriate to the material we were dealing with?
I haven't actually been able to see it yet. It's on my watch list at the moment.
Got it, and I don't think you've seen it, Greg, yet either, have you?
No, haven't had time yet, Alex.
No, that's absolutely fine. Well, let me give you my view, because it, of course, differs from Peter's.
Of course.
Of course it does, yes. So, all right, so let's start at the beginning. It's been adapted from a graphic novel, 2012 graphic novel, by Geoff Winterhart. And it's a gently funny coming-of-age story. Screenplays by Lisa Owens, and Simon Bird directs his first feature. Now, hopefully you'll learn a thing or two from this. I appreciated the characterisations of both Sue and Daniel. Both looked and acted suitably awkward. And I really agree with you to this extent that Monica Dollard channels nerd particularly well. And the film presents as fly-in-the-wall material. Second time I've said that today. Like we're allowed to listen in on a mother and son's frequent squabbles. Some people, Peter, hint, 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 will appreciate the blitheness of it all. Others, I didn't say, will be thinking much ado about nothing. And I'm not talking Shakespeare either. What's to see here other than usual teenage rebellion? The film follows a largely negative path until the final chapter, when an incident brings the pair closer. And otherwise, you'd be plunging off cliffs, right? I mean, you know, that's the only thing that happens. Loud metallic music stings are punctuated throughout this piece, reflecting Daniel's musical states and the world that he retreats into. Notably, the one time he's called out publicly, Peter, he presents as remarkably shy. So I see this as this sort of independent, small audience film which will only suit very, very, very selective tastes. Surely you don't disagree with that, do you?
I do disagree to some extent. I think a lot of people will enjoy this film for a number of reasons. And not only that, I think the song score by Bell and Sebastian works quite nicely, especially in the chapter development in the storyline. So I think this is a pretty good audience film.
I totally disagree with that. I think it will appeal to some very select individuals who have probably lost their nail clippers to cut the lawn. Anyway, having said that, it's not a bad film, and the performances are strong. So I'm not going to, I'm just going to say again that this is a very, very, very small audience film, not a big one as far as I'm concerned. 6 out of 10. What about you?
I gave it 8 out of 10.
Wow. Well, that puts it up there as a damn good picture. Now, have any of you guys seen